Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today I'm going to be talking all about the wonderful, wonderful announcement that is Doom Eternal coming to the Nintendo Switch. A lot of people saw this coming, but there was a big part of me that was going, ooh, did the original one sell enough on the Switch for them to warrant releasing this one on the Switch as well? And thankfully, clearly, it did. We've seen some gameplay now. It looks absolutely fantastic. They just look like they've ramped everything up as you would expect for a Doom game. But there are some people out there who are a little bit worried that the Switch version is not going to be any good. And I'm here to tell you, don't worry about it. Seriously, we have nothing to worry about. I've been looking through interviews and things like that, looking at all the evidence, and yeah, it comes up with it's gonna be good. It is, of course, gonna be running at 30 frames a second, but if you've played the original Doom on the Switch, then you know that that is not a bad way to play it. Would it be better at 60? Yes, of course it would. But is it still good at 30? Absolutely, it's beyond good. First bit of evidence, once again, this is being ported to the Switch by Panic Button, and if you don't know who they are, where have you been? In case you have been living under a rock, Panic Button are the people who were responsible for the original port of Doom on Switch, Rocket League on Switch, and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus on Switch, which is no small feat. All of these games have been ported absolutely superbly, and a lot of people thought that Doom was going to be the original impossible port, and yet Panic Button proved them wrong. So when it comes to making a port of any game coming to the Switch from PS4 or from Xbox One, Panic Button really are the people to do it. I think Wolfenstein 2 especially is one of the most impressive ones, because that was a huge, beautiful game on Xbox One and PS4, and was it released on PC? I don't even know these days. And they managed to bring it to the Switch, and they managed to bring it in a way that runs beautifully. They made changes here and there, only very small ones that actually affected, well, it didn't even really affect the gameplay, but maybe affected the game world. There was this sort of a notorious wall that stopped you from viewing something that was there. I haven't seen it. But every single change that has been made has not affected gameplay and has been the actual full experience, not watered down in the slightest, and is basically just the same game, but running on a slightly weaker machine that can be taken on the go. Second thing I want to talk about is the fact that Doom, whilst it is a phenomenal game, and it really is some of the most fun I've had on my Xbox for a long, long time, it is not that intensive a game. I mean, graphically it's fairly intensive, but in terms of what's actually going on, it's fairly straightforward. Enemies appear in a relatively static world, and you shoot them, and they die, and then you move on with your life. There's no sort of big calculations, there's no massive physics engine going on or something like that. There's nothing that the Switch can't handle in here. You know, we've seen it with Doom before, and yes, Doom Eternal does look like it's going to be a little bit more intensive, but you can just tailor how the game handles things slightly in order to make it more efficient, and we've seen it time and time again. There are some interesting new mechanics in the game, it has to be said, but none of them really seem to be particularly graphic or even processor heavy. They're just fairly straightforward. They're just beautiful to look at, and very gory. The third and final thing, and probably the meatiest one of all, is the fact that id have said that they have made this game with the Switch in mind. They didn't do that with Doom, they didn't do that with Wolfenstein 2, because, well, Doom came out before the Switch, and Wolfenstein 2 was already massively far in development before it became apparent just how lovely the Switch was. So if they've started making this game thinking about the Switch and making sure that it's something that would work on Switch, it's probably going to run even better than the original Doom and Wolfenstein 2, because even though it's still going to be a port and it's still going to be a game developed for another system but transferred across, they've built it with the Switch in mind, which is a big deal. What that means in real terms, we have absolutely no idea, and I don't think anybody except id and maybe Bethesda do. But it's incredibly reassuring to see, and they've even been quoted as saying that they're treating the Switch what they call internally a first-class citizen. And in case you didn't know, the release date is planning to be the same as the Xbox One and the PS4, which is frankly marvelous. I think the major thing to take away from this video is the doom and gloom that you may have been seeing online is not really grounded in any kind of reality. I mean, it's understandable for people to have concerns about games and things like that, but we haven't even seen this game running. It's being handled by the same people who did an excellent port of an extremely similar game, which just so happens to be in the same series, in the past, and it ran beautifully, so why should this be any different? Yes, it's a newer game, but it's also being made with the Switch in mind, meaning that they've no doubt made decisions that work with the Switch's best interests and best efforts in mind. And if that doesn't make you feel secure that this is going to be a lovely port, then I don't know what will. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you ram a spike through the skull of that subscribe button, because that's a thing you can do apparently. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you... Oh god, I've spat on the screen.